विभिन्न भागों से, विभिन्न धर्मों के, विभिन्न रीति रिवाज मानने वाले, विभिन्न भाषाएं बोलने वाले, लेकिन राजपथ पर इस समय ऐसा लगता है जैसे सारा देश एकत्रित हुआ हो। और अब आगे का हाल, इससे पहले कि मैं अंग्रेजी में सुनाने के लिए मेलविल डेमेलो को दूं, सबसे पहले कार्यक्रम के अनुसार प्रधानमंत्री जी पधारेंगी खुली जीप में, और जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं वे सीधे जाएंगी इंडिया गेट, जहां अमर जवान ज्योति पर वो सारे देशवासियों की ओर से पुष्पांजलि अर्पित करेंगी और याद करेंगी उन लोगों को जिन्होंने के देश के लिए अपनी जान बलिदान कर दी। और अब मेलविल डेमेलो।
Prime Minister is now approaching the saluting base on her way to India Gate for the Amar Jawan Jyoti ceremony. She rides in an open jeep, she waves to the crowds. Tremendous applause from the audience on the right and left. Rajpath, valiant, buoyant as ever. Straight down See the crowds in the background, waving, applauding, clapping this popular Prime Minister. Mrs. Gandhi in the open jeep has just cleared the saluting base now and is now approaching India Gate for that very moving and solemn ceremony where the country, through her, pays homage to the soldiers, sailors, and airmen who laid down their lives for the security and safety of our nation. Onwards to India Gate. And this is the scene at India Gate, the eternal flame guarded round the clock by men of the armed forces in memory of those who laid down their lives in defending the nation. The immortal soldier, Amar Jawan, represented by a reversed rifle, topped by the helmet of a soldier. Move over to the right, you've got a glimpse here of the wreath held by two Jawans. And here is the open jeep carrying the Prime Minister. She alights. Takes her position behind the wreath, and the slow march begins to the resting spot for the wreath. This is a sacred, sad, and solemn moment, and recalls the many heroes who have laid down their lives that we might be free. Just behind the Prime Minister is Brigadier Saxena. The playing of rouse by the buglers marks the end of the Amar Jawan Jyoti ceremony, and the Prime Minister is now being introduced by the Defence Minister, Mr. R. Venkataraman, to the Deputy Defence Minister, Mr. Singh Deo, and three service chiefs. And the Defense Secretary. Introductions over. Prime Minister is now led back to the open jeep. And in a moment, she will be moving down Rajpath once again, back to the saluting base. And as the jeep moves away from India Gate, on its way back to the saluting base, it is good to recall that 33 years ago, the people of our country, through their Constituent Assembly, declared India a sovereign democratic republic. And during the past 33 years, there has been much of which we can be justly proud. There have been setbacks also along the way. Well, that is the nature of progress. Jawaharlal Nehru warned us that the founding of a republic was just one phase of the national struggle, important though it was, to mark the end of one journey and the commencement of another journey, perhaps a more arduous journey, as he said. 33 years is a short period in the life of a nation, but in that period, India has been transformed almost from a colony into a modern nation state and anti-submarine rockets.
इंडिया गेट की ओर देखें तो प्रधानमंत्री का रास्ता सलामी मंच की ओर अंतर्गति में खुली जीप में
And here is the Prime Minister once again on your screens in the open jeep,
स्वीकार करते हुए सलामी मंच के करीब पहुंच रही हैं
moving between packed stands and jubilant crowds, waving to the masses of people on both sides, standing erect in an open jeep, which now draws up at the saluting base on Rajpath. The Prime Minister alights. Service chiefs are lined up there. She had the words, the Chief of Army Staff, Navy and Air Force. And now moves over to talk with the VIPs.
Meeting the Nigerian delegation, the Foreign Minister of Nigeria and our own Foreign Minister, the others present in the VIP seats. As Melville was telling you that President of Nigeria is the chief guest at this year's Republic Day parade. And as we see the Vice President and Mrs. Hidayatullah arriving, being received by Mr. Venkatraman, Mr. K.P. Singh Deo, General Krishna Rao, Admiral Dawson, and Air Chief Marshal Dilbagh Singh. In turn, Vice President and Mrs. Hidayatullah. Professor Urdu, who is the Nigerian Foreign Minister, with just been introduced to the Vice President. As Melville telling you, amongst the other VIPs present today to witness the parade as guests of the service chiefs is the Chief of the Italian Air Force and the Chief of Staff of the French Army, expected to be guests of our service chief. Mrs. Hidayatullah. The weather at Rajpath today, a bit cloudy, but we hope with the sun shining on top, we will be in a position to have the fly past. The Air Force made elaborate arrangements both for the fly past if the weather is good and a fly past if there is reduced cloud base or reduced visibility. Of course, in the worst circumstance, they might just cancel the fly past. But as things stand, it appears that we will have the fly past. I'm approaching the saluting base in your picture. Prime Minister, as traditionally she does before the parade starts, she moves amongst the VIP stands, the legislators, the ministers, the judges of the Supreme Court, the visiting dignitaries. And now, of course, in conversation with the Vice President and Mrs. Adatullah. Talking to the Nigerian Foreign Minister. And all eyes now wait for the precise moment. In a few minutes when the President will arrive, escorted by the senior-most regiment of the Indian Army, the President's bodyguard. But at the moment what you see arriving towards the presidential dais is Srimati Zail Singh.
To participate in the celebrations in Delhi, dignitaries have come from other countries, extending their hand of friendship. We welcome
That's
them
Mrs.
all.
Zail Singh in front and the daughter at the back. Going past Mr. Venkataraman, Mr. K.F. Singh and the three service chiefs.
At the end of the parade, a breathtaking and
Melville?
thrilling fly past by the Indian Air Force would be done. If you look towards your
And now all eyes are looking up Rajpath towards Vijay Chowk, from which direction the bodyguards are escorting the state coach carrying the president and the Nigerian president Al-Haji Sheikh Usman Aliyu Shagari. And you can see them now approaching the saluting base. The state coach escorted by the president's bodyguard carrying the president and the president of Nigeria, who is chief guest at today's parade, to the saluting base at Rajpath. Lances with red and white pennants, bays with black points, pageantry and splendor going back 200 years to Warren Hastings. Scarlet tunics, white breeches, black Napoleon boots, embroidered sabretaches, the blue shabrack edged with gold lace, white sheepskin saddle covers, blue and gold cummerbunds, white gauntlet gloves and turbans of blue and gold, and the flash of silver spur. The elite corps of the Indian Army, holding aloft the President's standard and the regimental standard. Concentrated pageantry, this has few rivals in the world of ceremonial. Leading the bodyguards is Lieutenant Colonel H.S. Sodhi, his coach for India's equestrian team that competed in the 9th Asian Games. There are the bodyguards now, forming up opposite the saluting base, onwards, and await the state coach, which is carrying the president and Nigerian president, and President Zail Singh waves to the crowds as the state coach reaches the saluting base on Rajpath. The coach stops, the doors opened. The president alights, followed by the Nigerian president. He is met by the vice president and the prime minister. And the prime minister invites the president to move forward and meet the service chiefs. Both presidents are introduced by the prime minister. And then the president moves onto the saluting base. Now,
और रिमाउंट वेटनरी कोर्स सेंटर के बैंड। और ये देखिए पहली दफा T-72 टैंक्स राष्ट्रपति जी के सामने से निकलते हुए इनका नेतृत्व कर रहे हैं मेजर चंद्रपाल। अगले साल 7वीं कैवलरी जिसके कि ये टैंक हैं उनके 200 साल पूरे हो जाएंगे। मेजर चंद्रपाल को वीर चक्र भी प्रदान किया गया था सन 71 के ऑपरेशंस में। और ये तोप जो आप देख रहे हैं ये टैंक की सबसे बड़ी 125 मिलीमीटर की तोप है। T-72 टैंक दिन और रात लड़ाई कर सकते हैं। आप देख रहे हैं एक छोटी मशीन गन भी लगी हुई है जिससे कि हवाई जहाज के हुक मार गिरा जा सकता है। सातवीं कैवलरी के T-72 टैंक सलामी मंच के सामने से गुजरते हुए। इस रेजिमेंट को अभी तक 27 बैटल ऑनर और 249 गैलेंट्री मेडल्स मिले हुए हैं। जवान अब सामने राष्ट्रपति जी के निकलेंगे। आगे का हाल मिलविल डिमेलो।
Now, leading the marching contingents of the army are the Corps of Engineers, represented by the Madras Engineers Group, popularly known as the Madras Sappers. Second Lieutenant Anurag Vora leads the contingent. The Madras Sappers are the senior most in the Corps of Engineers and have a glorious history going back 203 years. They won 2 Mahavir Chakras, 10 Veer Chakras, 35 other gallantry awards. In 1981, they participated in the Republic Day Parade for the first time and won the Chief of Army Staff's trophy for the best marching contingent. They bagged the trophy again last year. And judging by their marching this morning, it could be a hat trick. The Thambis, as they are popularly known, are great sportsmen also. They boast 7 Olympians in hockey, swimming and boxing and have won 5 Arjuna Awards for excellence in sport. You can see all this verve and eclat in that snappy eyes right to the President, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces.
Next comes the parachute regiment. The contingent is led by Captain Sanjeev Wattal, formed in 1941. It has a distinguished record, having won 10 Mahavir Chakras and 38 Veer Chakras. It has the added distinction of having won 6 Ashok Chakras. All paratroopers are as tough as nails and are volunteers who are required to go through a grueling mental and physical test to make the grade as paratroopers. The regiment received new colours in 1967 from the then President of India, the late Dr. Zakir Hussain. Here's a fine splash of colour and sound from 2 brass bands as they swagger down Rajpath to the infectious rhythm Haste Lushai. Bengal Engineers Group and Centre Band and the Parachute Regimental Centre Band. Approaching the saluting base now is the contingent from the Madras Regiment, led by Major P.B.R. Raja. 200 years of illustrious history, battle-scarred with honour abounding. Action in 2 world wars and all the conflicts post-independence. Grenadiers Regiment led by N.S. Yadav.